Let's talk about organ meats. Now, I grew up in a household where we would fight over who got the chicken liver, who got the chicken gizzard, and who got the chicken heart. And quite honestly, my mother usually got the heart, I got the liver, and my grandfather got the gizzard. Why would we fight over it? Because for centuries, organ meats were actually prized as one of the best things that you could eat from an animal. In fact, in studies of large carnivores like lions and tigers and hyenas, the kill is usually eaten from the abdomen first. All of the guts, all of the intestines, the liver, and often the carcass is left. And studies of hunter-gatherers, modern hunter-gatherers, frequently find that it's the liver and other parts of the gut that they treasure the most. Well, so fast forward, with that sort of information, it's become the topic of the day that organ meats are the best source of vitamins, minerals, essential amino acids, essential fats, and that the more we acquire these ancient known health benefits through organ meats, the better, but not so fast. If you noticed in The Plant Paradox and in my most recent book, The Gut-Brain Paradox, I spend a considerable time talking about a odd sugar molecule called Nu5GC. And its near identical twin, Nu5AC. So these two sugar molecules actually differ by only one molecule of oxygen. They're otherwise identical. So you and I had a genetic mutation millions of years ago that the sugar molecule that we manufacture on the lining of our gut, on the lining of our blood vessels, on the lining of our joints, on the lining of our blood-brain barrier is called Nu5AC. On the other hand, beef, lamb, pork, milk has Nu5GC as their sugar molecule. Now, before we start crying, chicken, poultry, and fish also have Nu5AC. Not Nu5GC. So they have the same molecule that we have. Nu5GC, because it looks virtually identical to Nu5AC, is rapidly absorbed through our gut wall. And the minute it hits us, our immune system views it as foreign, and we make aggressive antibodies to Nu5GC because it is foreign. But when Nu5GC in our food is absorbed, Nu5GC can substitute for Nu5AC in the wall of our gut, in our blood vessels, in our joints, and in our blood-brain barrier. And it is attacked in our gut wall, in our joints, in our blood vessels, and in our blood-brain barrier as foreign. And it creates inflammation. In fact, interestingly enough, animals who make Nu5GC will not let it into their brain because it causes neuroinflammation. As a boy from Nebraska, the beef state, I can tell you that it makes me cry to tell you that the studies implicating eating red meat, beef, lamb, pork, and the incidence of arthritis, diabetes, dementia, heart disease, and cancer, the association is incredibly strong. Now, association does not mean causation. I'm the first to admit that. But now we know how Nu5G causes inflammation. The association is a causal one, not an association. Let's get back to organ meats. It just so happens that organ meats of beef, lamb, pork have the highest concentration of Nu5GC of anything you can eat. In fact, liver is number one. Sorry about that. Now, on the other hand, chicken, poultry, does not have Nu5GC. And isn't it amazing that the association of organ eating in fowl correlates incredibly well with good health in the Italians and the French. In fact, there's even the famous foie gras diet. And in case you didn't know, foie gras is fatty duck liver or goose liver. And these organ meats have large amounts of a cool compound called spermidine, which is a class of polyamines which absolutely promote health, promote mitochondrial function. So what you're hearing today is organ meats from poultry are incredibly good for you, whereas organ meats from beef, lamb, or pork are incredibly mischievous for you. Now, are you going to feel it today when you eat these things? No. What we're talking about is long-term consequences. Here's the great news. Starting today, and the evidence is in my best-selling books, the more Nu5AC foods you put in your diet and remove Nu5GC foods from your diet, the better off you're going to be, because you actually replace the Nu5GC from the lining of your gut, from the lining of your joints, from the lining of your blood vessels, and from your blood-brain barrier. That's the great news. One final bit of great news. You can make Nu5GC foods safe to eat through the process of bacterial fermentation. And one of the fascinating things that I've learned looking at ancient cultures who do eat organ meats in the form of sausages, or who do eat, remember, these were kind of the leftovers, and they were ground in, tailed and snout eating. They were ground into sausages. And the traditional way of preserving sausages is bacterial fermentation. And the great news is that the bacteria will eat the Nu5GC. In fact, you may know that my good friend, Chef Jimmy Schmidt, who's won 3 James Beard Awards, recently I challenged him, and he's an amazing protein biochemist, to eliminate Nu5GC in his hot dog that he makes at JR Ranch Foods. And I have no commercial interest in JR Ranch Foods. Jimmy Schmidt found that by fermenting the meat in his hot dog from grass-fed Angus cows or grass-fed pigs, the Nu5GC was eliminated, pretty much gone. And he compared that to a famous hot dog, and the amount of Nu5GC in the hot dog was almost 1 million parts. And in Jimmy's hot dog, there was 150 parts of Nu5GC. He's completely eliminated that problem. So the answer is, if you see a traditionally lactic acid culture prepared sausage or hot dog, you probably won't have Nu5GC. If you see a traditionally prepared ham like prosciutto, it does not have Nu5GC. But long story short, you're far better off, if you want organ meats, to go the old tried and true way: chicken livers, chicken hearts, chicken gizzards, and foie gras. Wow, what a great way to have organ meats.